This is my project right now. I'm hand digging this smaller pond, which is gonna support the bigger pond that's right there behind me. So this one's pretty good size, 10 feet wide, 25 feet long. That's the big pond. That thing's a beast. It's like 100 feet by 75 feet, the big pond. So that was my initial dimension for this bog pond. It's only, well, it's 3 feet deep at the very deepest point. I'm checking the level because I want water to flow into it, fall into a deep spot to slow down any sediment, and then have to rise up to go through the spillway. So that was a hand dig. I was able to get a skid steer in and do a little bit of stuff, but very little, very, very little. So again, the whole purpose of this is I want to line this, and I do, although I lost track of the video. I lined it with an RPE, like a reinforced polyethylene, almost like a tarp, but a very nice quality tarp. And so it's totally sealed. And later, I actually extended it back like another 30 feet in the direction of those weeds that I was looking. And that area ended up being cattails, and this area ended up being like floating plants, water hyacinth, and similar. I pea graveled the whole thing, and I ran a pipe up and put a bunch of T's and PVC in some slits. So basically, it picks up from the big pond and then sends it over here and then percolates up through the stone. And the stone starts with bigger and then gets gradually smaller. They make proper centipedes for this that you can buy, but for me, my shape was kind of weird, and I had a lot of material on hand, different gravels and everything. So I didn't do like what everybody does with the aqua blocks and all that stuff. Although I'm familiar with it, and that would be, probably the better way to go. But I'm gonna work with what I got here. So kind of looking around in the space and figuring out how I'm going to do it. This collects a huge amount of rainwater, so I also want to kind of be able to utilize the rainwater, and also, that'll filter the rainwater, and also be able to get the water that I'm going to circulate. See, the pond it's drying up. Later I seal and rock that in, but for now it's a dirt pond. So when that pond is full, it's amazing, and all the wildlife shows up, and then it goes dry and it just gets algae. In fact, I even had health and safety come out for the algae bloom, and they were upset about potential mosquitoes. So here's later. I skipped ahead. My audio was really bad when I did this because I had my phone in a waterproof case, so I'm just voicing over. But basically, I lined it and I rocked it. It was a lot of work. It took me, I don't know, at least 40 hours hustling myself as fast as I could. And then I put some fish in the big pond, shabunkin and comet goldfish, and they had babies, and this sucker blew up. It's awesome though. I mean, it's so fun to just come down here and look at this. And the hyacinth blew up, and I have that little circulating water on a solar pump that I got off Amazon. And basically, this is where my dog likes to stay. So basically, the whole purpose of this wildlife part is really just to keep the water quality clean in the big pond, which I'm not done yet with. I mean, I had to order like $7,000 or $8,000 worth of clay to line that big pond. So I'm doing what I can afford right now and getting this all dialed in. And it did turn out really good. I think this spot ended up being cool. It probably a little overpopulated on fish, but it's a wild pond, and I have herons and different things come in, and they ate up all those fish. Matter of fact, now I'm doing this recording voiceover like 2 years later, so all those fish actually got eaten. That's a little bit sad. Did support the wildlife though. We had some turtles come in and some different big birds and all kinds of stuff. So pretty neat. But this is just the wetland, and like I said, I do expand it a little bit later. And so you just check out all those goldfish. They went nuts. And in fact, that hyacinth, I started out with just a few little pieces, and it just blossomed and blossomed and blossomed. And I do end up kind of cutting it back and reorganizing it a bit when I get ready to fix the big pond. So check that out. And I think I started with 50 goldfish. So you see how that worked out. And they're also nibbling the roots. And what I'm going to do is once every 6 months or so, I'm going to pump the deep part of this out and get a lot of the fish waste. And I'm just going to hook that to a little portable like sump pump and water a lot of my fruit trees. So it's kind of like aquaponics, but I don't have it hooked up all the time. I'll just pump it dry. You can see that area is getting a little dirty because that's where the feeding frenzy is. It's definitely neat. There are way too many fish in there. Oh, and I moved them up from the big pond here. That way, when I fix the big pond, I can transfer them back down. Like I said, big birds got in there, and I think actually the big goldfish ate the smaller goldfish and minnows, and then the big bird came through and popped all the big goldfish, and they're gone. So I got to rebuild the ecosystem, but I'll be rebuilding it here pretty soon. And then, I went through and trimmed everything, cleaned it all up, and now I've got this pond really ready to support the larger pond. So that was my goal, was just getting it to a manageable point for now, so that way I can have some wildlife in here. And then when I get the big pond done, this one will just serve as the filtration, and so we'll see how that works pretty soon.